Bradford City have today confirmed their second signing of the 2026 January transfer window as attacking midfielder Joe White signs on loan from Premier League side at Newcastle United. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 200 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below on this new edition. Quite similar to Louis Sibley in the fact that he's coming on loan. He's a left-footed attacking midfielder. Let's waste no further time though and get straight into it. The article does then read, City snap up White. Bradford City AFC is delighted to announce the loan signing of Joe White from Newcastle United for the remainder of the season. The attacking midfielder becomes the Bantam's second January recruit, having spent the first half of the campaign with fellow Sky Bet League One side at Leyton Orient. The highly rated youngster is making his sixth loan switch since being poached by Newcastle United's academy at the age of 13. He made his senior debut for the Magpies in 2024 in the Premier League against Bournemouth. White said, "It is a great feeling. I am so happy to be here. It is such an amazing and massive club. Hopefully I can bring my game to this team, which is doing very well at the moment. I spoke to Graham Alexander in the summer, and since then I have watched some of the games which I have been on loan in the first part of the season. I feel like I can really excel." City manager Graham Alexander added, "Joe is a player we've admired for a while, and we believe his creativity will bring an added dimension to our team. His ability on the ball is excellent and he's willing to work hard off the ball, which suits our style. He will fit in with our group well." Joe will wear number 30 during his stay in BD8. His move is obviously subject to the relevant EFL clearances. Now, there has been no statement or anything really to come out of Newcastle United, so nothing really to say from their point of view. Now, obviously, this one has been in the pipeline for a couple of days. We also expect the Bantams to complete the addition of right wing back Harrison Ashby, who's set to come in on loan from Newcastle United as well. But Joe White was one that only really cropped up really over the last 24 hours or so, but he has had a lot of loan spells previously. He's been at Hartlepool, Exeter, Crewe, MK Dons, and now Leyton Orient. I think he was very injury prone throughout his time at Leyton Orient because he managed just 3 league appearances for them this campaign, but he hasn't really played that much football at League One level. We know Bradford City have signed a lot of players in the summer, and obviously Louis Sibley so far in January, who have got a lot of experience at League One level. Joe White certainly doesn't do that, but I think it's important to have balance in your team. He's 6'1", which I certainly do think is quite tall for an attacking midfielder. I think he's certainly going to come in and play in that Bobby Poynton position as the left attacking midfielder. I don't think he'll play a little bit deeper like what he maybe can do. I know we've got players who can do that, but I would still expect us to go out and complete loan additions. We'll come on to Bradford City squad later on in today's video, but obviously we have now got 3 players in on loan. Harrison Ashby would be 4, Ethan Wheatley potentially would be 5, and then you think we apparently agreed a deal for that Crystal Palace attacking midfielder who would then obviously take us to 6 loan deals. Obviously, we might not necessarily complete all these players. It could have just been agents trying to put some feelers out there to try and, you know, get their player a move for their club. But I don't mind this signing, in all honesty. You know, it gives us a bit more strength in depth in a position which we clearly needed to improve in at this transfer window. I hope that he comes in, does very well for Bradford City and avoids injuries, because last season he played over 30 times for MK Dons and scored a decent amount of goals, so there is proven quality there if he can keep himself fit and keep himself available. In terms of Joe White then, he played 3 times in August in the league for Leyton Orient and hasn't featured since obviously was sent back at the same time as Teo Adaramola. I do think some Orient fans called him useless and all that sort of stuff is incredibly harsh, considering the guy's literally played 53 league minutes for them so far this campaign. I mean, that doesn't make for particularly great reading. And I mean that from the terms of, obviously, he clearly has had a couple of quite big injuries so far this campaign. Even if they're just very small ones that have added up, to only be able to play 53 minutes in half a campaign is very worrying. You know, he's obviously not played anywhere near enough football so far this season. But hopefully it is just a bit of a one-off. I think Leyton Orient have had a fair few big injuries so far this campaign. Because, again, you look at previously in his career, he's not struggled too much with injuries. Last season, though, in League 2, obviously when Bradford City were promoted, he was with MK Dons, where he played 34 times, started 23 games, so started exactly half of the League One matches, playing just shy of 2,000 minutes, where he did manage to score 6 goals, averaged a goal every 328 minutes with a 25% goal conversion rate. So for an attacking midfielder, they are 2 really good statistics. 1 in every 4 of his shots ends up in the back of the net, which I do think is positive. He also registered 2 assists, but in total created 6 big chances and averaged 1.1 at key passes per game. He got an incredibly high accurate pass rate with 84%. I know MK Dons are very much so a possession-based side, but I do think that is incredibly impressive. Defensively, not going to bring you loads, but will still do his fair share. 1.3 tackles per game, 3.2 balls recovered per game with a 56% successful dribble rate. Again, that's pretty solid. Wins over 50% of his ground duels and nearly 50% of his aerial duels. Based on his time at MK Dons, this does look like a good signing for Bradford City. So we'll be hoping that we've now brought him in through the door when he's gone a little bit of a dip, given that he's not really played that much football with Leyton Orient so far this campaign. But I do think this will prove to be a decent signing for us. He did actually play against Bradford City back in February when we obviously beat them 2-0. Anthony Sarsic brace on that day. In terms then of how Bradford City squad is now lining up for the 2025-26 League 1 campaign. As you can see, the attacking midfield positions were certainly looking very strong in terms of depth. We've now got 4 players who can naturally play as a left attacking midfielder. Obviously, we've got the 3 you can see there. I'm not including Clark Ador because I don't expect him to return to Bradford City in at this transfer window. But you've also got Tyreek Wright. Callum Kavanagh's played there over the last couple of games as well, but hopefully now we've got some more depth in there that will put the end to that experiment, which I don't think particularly works. I would now expect George Lapsley to potentially be moved on either on loan or a permanent. I think a loan probably is more likely because I do still think we could do with another option to play as that right attacking midfielder. I think we've now got some good depth on the other side, but I think the right attacking midfield, apart from Sarsvik, we haven't really got much strength in depth in there. We still definitely need to bring in another striker. Obviously, if Harrison Ashby comes in at right wing back, could that mean the end for Brad Halliday, who is now Bradford City's longest serving player, given that Andy Cook did move on yesterday? I think we also still need another holding midfielder to compete with Max Power in at that position, and I think there needs to be a bit of player trading in the centre-back positions. You know, you get rid of 1 or 2 of them and you bring in another 1 or 2 as well. But I think it's been a really strong start to this transfer window. We've got some big wages off of the wage bill for players which Alexander wasn't picking and hadn't picked for at least 6 weeks or so. So I do think it has been a positive start to the transfer window. Obviously, a bit of a different sort of profile this signing to what we have been used to so far. Not really much League One experience, but on his day looks like he could be a really, really good signing for Bradford City. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 200 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below on this signing. What are your thoughts on Bradford City recruiting 23-year-old attacking midfielder Joe White on loan from Newcastle United for the remainder of this campaign? I also wouldn't really be surprised if Harrison Ashby is announced later today. 8 AM for a signing is not particularly ideal, to be honest. I barely even had time to fill up my drink for a bit of water. I'm very hungry, so I'm probably going to have my breakfast now and probably cry into my cornflakes, still thinking about Andy Cook, who's never going to play for Bradford City again.